Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about how you will make a GitHub account and how you would upload a project to that account once you have made it. And so we're going to start off just by going to Google and typing in the word GitHub. So that is G-I-T Hub, all in one word. You can just go ahead and search that. You will click on the first entry of that search result. And so you can see that is github.com. That is where we want to go. And so click on that and you'll get to a page that looks something like this. And so, yeah, if you already have a GitHub account, you would click the sign in button and just enter in your credentials. You should be good to go. If you do not have an account, you'd click on the sign up button. And so I'm going to pretend like I do not have an account just to show you all that process. So I'm going to click on sign up. And here we are. To make a GitHub account, we have to give it 3 pieces of information. One is a username, your email address, and also a password as well. And so for me, for my username, I'm going to say something like C. Whitmire. And I can see that C. Whitmire is actually already taken. And so GitHub tries to be nice about this. It tries to give you suggestions about what it could be. I don't like any of these suggestions. So for me, I'm just going to maybe call it something like C. Whitmire test. Just because this is a test account for me. You can name whatever you want for yours, of course. For my email address, I'm just going to use my Barry email. That looks good. And then I will make up a password as well. Something like that. I always have this unchecked. I don't want GitHub sending me a bunch of emails or anything like that, so I uncheck that. Then we have to verify that we are not a robot, of course. And so we do that by doing a little kind of puzzle thing here. It's very easy. But click on that, and for me, it says I have to pick out the spiral galaxy. And so that should be this for me. Pick out the spiral galaxy. That should be that for me. And there we go. I'm not a robot, so I can continue on and create my account by clicking this big green button here at the bottom. I'll do that. And here we are. And so, excellent. This allows you to choose some settings or anything like that if you want to kind of customize your GitHub experience. I don't think it's worth doing. If you want to do that later on, you can. What we need to do next, though, is we need to go to that email address that we submit it to GitHub, and then verify our email address. So I already have mine kind of pulled up here, so I'm going to go there, and I can just click on this very first email. That is the one that GitHub just sent to me, and click on the big green button that says Verify Email Address. Click on that, and check it out. My email was verified, so I'm good to go. Cool. And so now let's talk about how we would upload a project to GitHub. And so the way we'll do that is we'll first go to the main page of GitHub. You do that by clicking on this icon in the top left-hand corner. It looks kind of like a cat. I'm going to click on that. And you can see now I'm at the home page of GitHub. I am currently signed in. I'm just at github.com, but I am signed in now as me. Now, to actually submit your project, we have to create something called a repository. A repository is just a collection of files that represents a single project. So the way we do that is if you look here, kind of on the left-hand side of the screen, there's a big green button that says Create Repository. We're going to click on that, and this will allow us to then create a repository and then upload files. And so we have to choose a name for our project. For me, I just made a little Hello World project, so I'm just going to call this Hello World. If you're doing this for a class or something like that, maybe you call it something like CSC 103 Final Project. Maybe your project has a name, right? Maybe it's called, Space Fighter 5000 or whatever. You'd put that name here. You can then give it a description. That is optional, but I think it's helpful just to have. So for me, I'm just going to say this is a test repo. Repo is short for repository. To help teach peeps about GitHub, something like that. Then we want to make sure it is public. If you're doing this for a class, this is very important because this will allow you to share your GitHub with your professors or your teachers. This will also allow you to share the links with people later on, like future employers. And so that's a big kind of reason you might want to use GitHub to store your project, just because it will be very easy to share your code and files with other people in the future. Finally, all we really need to do besides that is click on this button to add a README file. A README file is just a very simple text file that will describe people who are looking at your project about what your project is and how it works and blah, blah, blah. And it turns out if you just add one, even if you don't fill it in, it kind of makes this process a little bit easier. So we're just going to go ahead and add that README file by clicking on this checkbox. Once you have that, you should be good to go. And then I can say, click on this button and say create repository. And here we are. So now I can see I have my repository. You can see I named it Hello World. So we are here in this repository. Now what I want to do is I want to start adding files to this repository. So for me, I have a little processing project set up that I want to upload to this. And so to do that, what you do is you click on this button that says add file. And I want just to upload files from my computer. So I'm going to say upload files. And GitHub is actually very nice about this. All I have to do is drag and drop my files into this box here. So I already have over here in my file explorer, I have my Hello World processing project. So if I go inside of that just to show you what I have my setup and draw tab. It looks something, kind of like this. It's a very simple Hello World program. I also have a class along with that. Again, it's just a kind of a basic Hello World program. Then I have a data folder with an image, just in case you need that for your project or something. And so, so this is just kind of a very typical processing project. To upload this to GitHub, and this is the same no matter what you're doing, I'm just going to kind of go back into my hierarchy of folders here, and I want to click and drag the folder with all of my files inside of it. So this is my folder that has all of my files inside of it. And so I'm just going to click and drag it to that kind of rectangle on GitHub. And then you can see it has now uploaded all of my files and kind of stored where they are. So that's really awesome. That's really great. At this point, we're pretty much done. We can add a comment. All this is just a comment describing what you are doing when you start uploading these files. So that's useful if you've made a minor change and you're uploading an existing file. In this case, we're just uploading our, kind of our final project file here. So I'm just going to say this is my initial commit, something like that. So it's my initial kind of submission for this project to GitHub. And I'm going to click on this button at the bottom that says commit changes. So I'll click on that. Should just take a few seconds. But here we are. I can see here in my repository, I have my files. So here's my README. That's that little basic thing we set up. But here's the folder that I actually submitted to GitHub. So if I click on that, I can see, okay, here's my programs, my data folder and my programs. So if I click on that, Hello World, well, there it is. You can see there's my Hello World program right there. That's really awesome. Same thing if I go to my class. There's my very basic class file as well. If I can go to data, and let's see. Yep, there's my image as well. So that's awesome. So everything here seems to be working, which means I could then take this file and then submit it to your professor or anything like that. And so I can go ahead and show you that process as well. So if you want to submit this repo to, your class or your professor or employer or anything like that, just go into, if you go back to your home page, my internet is taking just a second here. Let me pause that so you don't have to wait. Okay, there we go. And so what you want to do is make sure to go to the home page on GitHub. So you can do that by just clicking on the cat little icon, or just go to github.com. Then what you want to do is, if you want to send a link to a specific repository to your class or professor or whatever, just click on the repository you want to kind of send off to someone. So I'm going to click on my Hello World one. And then all you need is just to get that link. So you just copy that link, submit it on Canvas or the open house page on hackberrylab.com/openhouse or whatever it is you're trying to do. And as long as you give someone this link and it is public, they'll be able to see all of your code and all that. Just to prove that to you, if I copy this and then go to an incognito window and paste that, you can see it then takes me to this exact same page. I'm not signed in or anything, but I can still see all of the files and everything like that. And so, so that's pretty much it. That's how you make a GitHub account. That's how you upload a project to it. And that's also how you submit a link to, your professor or whatever it is you're trying to do. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you all next time.